welcome everyone to a new episode of A New Go of New Home Sales. I'm Anya Chrysanthemum.
Hey, I'm John Lee.
And today we're talking about the big stage. So up until this point, we've been putting all the pieces together. I certainly feel like I've got a PhD in MarTech. So we're taking it a step further and explaining how it all really fits.
Yeah, so, we've had these foundational episodes basically to understand all the terms of MarTech. But, it's all culminating to what we're going to talk about today, which is the big stage, and that's an e-commerce ecosystem. So why is e-commerce so important? Well, online shopping has changed everything. It's really swinging the pendulum of power from marketing to technology to e-commerce. If you look back in history here, marketing and sales were really the purview of the marketing departments and agencies. I mean, the marketing departments really controlled which channels and what the type of content went on there. And the sales departments were really just the recipient of the marketing traffic that was driven to their sales centers. As technology has started to enter our industry, we saw the evolution of MarTech. A lot of marketing agencies have alluded to how we need marketing technologists to help bridge that gap. But I'm going to introduce another term here, is the sales tech side. The salespeople need a little love too, and technology can give them that. And MarTech and sales tech really shifts that power to technology departments and software developers and consumers. Now that sounds all scary, but really together, as we've seen in other industries, it's really the fundamentals for e-commerce. And e-commerce creates that omni-channel ecosystem that really shifts the power to the OSCs, the online sales counselors, even the salespeople, because it gives them 24/7 response capabilities that, they're not totally locked into physical constraints and really at the mercy of whatever marketing drives to them, however they want to respond. And it also opens up to potentially realtors, who still represent about 80% of the leads that come into builders. And it gives even more power to the consumers, especially with the convergence of social commerce.
I think really technology is a win-win for everyone, from consumers to salespeople and everyone in between. And that's what we've seen so far with even rollout of buy now feature, that salespeople love it. And they're saying how much easier their job is becoming. Consumers are saying they love that as well. So it really makes that connection, better connection. It puts everyone on the same page. So I'm really excited to see what the even future holds of sales tech.
Yeah, so this e-commerce evolution is a long time coming. If you really look at the flagship of e-commerce, you look at Amazon, that was actually founded by Jeff Bezos back in 1994, but it really started taking off around 1999, when actually I was in Silicon Valley. So you look at 23 years later, here we are in 2022, and it's finally being discussed in our industry 23 years later. I mean, just as a personal note, 1999, my son Michael was born. And when I was in Silicon Valley, I always dreamed about bringing e-commerce into the new homes industry. And now he's graduated from college last year and in statistics, and now he's our first data scientist. So you can see how the evolution of e-commerce has actually affected us professionally and even me personally. So let's look at this graph here. We know the famed Wayne Gretzky. He says a good hockey player plays where the puck is. A great hockey player plays where the puck is going to be. And even Steve Jobs adopted that guidance. Basically, for us, we need to start to move as an industry toward where we see our industry going. And I see it going in basically two axes. On the bottom here, you see our marketing and sales steps, which is attracting the audience, engaging the prospects, nurturing leads, and converting the sales. But what we're starting to see, it's starting to move from an offline origination to ultimately online through the whole process from discovery to checkout. And for the first two segments, attracting the audience and engaging the prospects, that's really the purview of MarTech. MarTech has really started to address that and starting to do it pretty well. The one area that hasn't been conquered, and you've alluded to a little bit, is the buy now, is the sales tech side, which is nurturing those leads and converting those sales online. Now, on the y-axis are the cumulative channels that are evolving in response to e-commerce. Traditionally, when it was all offline, the builders were just working with print. I was here when that started, and some people are still using print, and it still has a purpose. And then it evolved to websites. and then it went to social channels. And those were the purview of the MarTech in the marketing agencies. But now, as we start to move toward e-commerce, the sales tech aspects are coming up where there's actually technology in the sales center with touchscreen sales kiosks and do-it-yourself checkout in a sense. And as we move to the front of the line and the bigger picture, you're starting to see the evolution of portals and marketplaces in the new homes industry, which is already existing in existing homes. So what we're going to see on the channel side is also a transition from offline to online. If you look back in 1999, it wasn't just the channels, it wasn't just the sales process, but the content, which is where we start out Wedding House. It didn't lend itself to being an e-commerce solution because it was all generic, static, dumb content. And when I say dumb content, there was no data. So if you see that graph there on Wayne Gretzky, I have the word data. To move toward an e-commerce marketplace so you can find, design, and buy online, we have to turn all this content into personalized, interactive, smart content. So we know who the buyers are, what they want, when they want it, and so that they can transact whenever, wherever, and however they want. So let me talk about the evolution to MarTech and sales tech, and just give you an example of Blockbuster, Netflix, because I think we can all relate to that. And also because Netflix is actually a virtual product that we enjoy. And in the sense, until the new homes are built, it's a virtual product to us as well. But if you go back to the old days of marketing and sales and Blockbuster, marketing drives the traffic to the stores, like we drive into the sales centers now, where the customers do their shopping and they buy the videotapes. Okay, well, now with MarTech, which is the first break into technology, but a lot of people probably didn't know that. In addition to Netflix's mail-in DVDs, Blockbuster also had that as well. And so what could happen there is the customers had the option of shopping in the store, or they can shop online for a DVD delivery. But you couldn't just enjoy everything seamlessly. You have to either mail back that DVD or bring it back to the store. That's kind of where we're at in this industry. But with sales tech and what Netflix ultimately conquered Blockbuster with is they brought everything online. So the customers can shop, consume, and pay for the content entirely online, anytime, anywhere, on any channel. You can see how that was transformative and just like in a blink of an eye. And so with e-commerce emerging in our industry here, what we're going to do is take that entire marketing sales process and bring it all online. And e-commerce converges these aspects online. They basically bring marketing and sales together online. Horizontally, as we saw in the previous slide, from discovery to checkout. Vertically, from content all the way through all the channels. And behind the scenes, because it's all about data, the e-commerce engine also connects all the different digital channels in the cloud, all the channels from TikTok to marketplaces, whatever may pop up, and all the supporting systems from ERPs, MLSs, CMSs, and there's a whole nother podcast we talked about with all that. It brings it all together, so it makes it all seamless.
So I think this is where most misunderstand buy now in e-commerce, is that they think buy now somehow is taking that human touch out of the equation. But I think it's just like you said, it's bringing all the systems online. And essentially it connects the salespeople and the buyers in this online journey. So they are meeting each other exactly where they are. And I think that's the biggest innovation, is bring your systems online so that your customers can access it anywhere in the world from any device. They can see exactly what's happening.
Yeah, and this chart basically is highlighting exactly what you're saying. A lot of people aren't familiar with sales tech, so that's why I circled it here. But e-commerce, the E stands for electronic. So we're just trying to create electronic commerce, which uses the internet as its backbone to create that digital sales process, which is a term that Andrew Peak with DYC had actually recommended, because it is a whole digital sales process that brings the buyers and the sales people together online to collaboratively shop, design, and even buy online. And it's regardless of the physical location, our time, our channels, our device. In summary, buy now, I know there's a lot of descriptions about it, but buy now is only a part of the buy online process, which is an integral piece of e-commerce, but it's purely for a transactional convenience. Buy now is about time, not distance. That's why the word now is in there. Location is not part of the equation.
So back to the previous slide where you compare Blockbuster to Netflix. So I think one of the differences with new home sales is that Netflix at least to my knowledge, there is no physical store, right? So with Netflix, we're doing everything online, essentially.
Right.
Everything is electronic. So do you see that that's going to be the same trend for new home sales, that everything will essentially go online, removing the sales center essentially? Or how do you see this progression?
I see it definitely opening up that possibility. I mean, there may be situations where you just physically cannot be there because of the remote distance, because of the urgency of things, because of COVID, and maybe the type of house that you're going to buy. So there may be an opportunity for people to just choose purely convenience over that advisory, consultative, in-person experience. Though I would still argue that you can bring those salespeople online. It's not that you're devoid of any sales consultation. It's just the platform changes.
I don't know if it will go 100% in that direction. I think if it does, it's going to take many, many years, because the way I envision it is going to be kind of like that hybrid experience, right? I may start online, I may come into the store,
Mhm.
I may go back online. I may never come into the store. And there's going to be customers who still want to come into the store. And that's about giving them options. As we move further and further into that e-commerce direction and customers become more and more comfortable with that idea, I think the idea of a regional sales center is going to be more prominent, as opposed to having a model home in each community. You go to a regional sales center where you can still feel, touch, experience the quality, experience the finishes, so that again, in your mind, you're saying, okay, what I saw online matches the quality expectation, etc. Because I think for new home, you can get the sense of quality from online. So I don't know if 100% will ever go without having a sales model of any sort.
I think with e-commerce and technology, we actually free the salesperson not only to just to work remotely from home, but it's almost like having a restaurant and a food truck, or being able to open up a kiosk in the mall. We actually give mobility and new ways of selling to salespeople. It's not to take their jobs. It's to allow them to facilitate their jobs better. There's no more one for all sales funnel and journey. With sales tech, you can sell remotely. Salesperson's on their iPhone and they're communicating with the buyer on their laptop, and both can access AI because they both need data and they both need visuals, and they can use tools like chatbots or Zoom, screen sharing. You know, you can still use phone calls because you still have a smartphone. You can do texting, or you can use Slack, as a lot of people are doing in their jobs now. And so you have a thread of communications and different people jumping into those channels as they need to go through the construction process and all that. You can still do email and social and FaceTime. But if you want to come on site, and this is not either or, this may be both, and it could be in different orders. On site, you can use a DIY sales kiosk. You still have your current sales systems. You can do self-guided tour apps, use tablets as you walk around and design together. But my contention is, once all that stuff is connected together and you can collaboratively shop, tour, advise, design, and even buy online, that consummation part of the transaction should be done online, whether it's remotely or on site, with digital contracts and credit cards or ACH, automatic clearinghouses, and it's all connected to your CRMs. And using all those technologies together keeps the buyers online where they want to be, but it also keeps your data online, so you know how to respond to them wherever they are and however they are. And it's all dependent upon this cloud-based, app-connected, omni-channel e-commerce ecosystem. Those words will probably be scary if you just listen to this for the first time, but if you go back to the other episodes, you all got it now. And it converges at MarTech and at Sales Tech for a complete online sales cycle.
And even maybe the idea of the regional sales center, again, where you go, feel and touch, but maybe using the Enter Now or U Tours to self-tour on your own time.
You're going to see a vertical integration of a lot of the traditional processes. Outside, looking in, are all these giant portals like Zillow, Open Door, Realtor.com, Redfin, CoStar, CoreLogic, OfferPad. When we clean up the mess here and prepare for an e-commerce ecosystem, I think they're going to be ready to jump in, because it's a tough problem to solve. There's so many different specialty tools for this process: self-guided tours, or ratings and reviews, or CRMs and sales apps. The sales-centric aspect of it is really just the sales center channel currently. And those are where basically the salespeople hang out. And so the whole goal is to bring from online marketing and drive into an offline on-site sales center. And the OSC role has developed to be that bridge to direct that traffic on site. Now, in a tech-centric world, with technology, you're able to bypass a lot of those handoffs. E-commerce platforms are not just going to simplify shopping for consumers, but it's also going to simplify shopping for builders. Because instead of builders looking through all these lists of products and services and having to deal with all these vendors and integrating them all and making it all in sync and works all seamlessly and be able to respond immediately to consumers wherever they're at and all the stuff that we're talking about with e-commerce. And so what they're going to rely on are vendors that already put the whole ecosystem together. And so if you look at BDX and their new home source and you look at all the different needs, they check off almost every one of those boxes. I mean, they have the power of a large consortium of national builders and a lot of resources there and over 20 years of experience to check off those boxes. Now, the latest player here, Zonda, through some recent acquisitions, is starting to check off a lot of those boxes. And here we come in as a new go here, trying to do the same thing, but in a different way. And we check off a few of those boxes. Why is this important? Because all these X's here that are being checked off, it's either something that these platforms are going to partner with someone in a strategic alliance or outsource or refer, or they're going to try to do it themselves in-house. And depending on the cost and their capabilities, they're going to make those decisions. So if you look at visual content, all three of those entities provide that now, especially Zonda just acquired Alpha Vision. Okay, BDX has been doing it for a long time. Obviously, we've been doing a long time with Rendering House. Websites, BDX offers websites. Zonda is still missing that piece. We do it through our relationships with a lot of our website vendors, but I wouldn't be surprised if Zonda makes an acquisition of a website company to tie in with that content. The other channel that's very important is sales centers. All three of us check off that boxes and that we all have like sales center kiosks. The marketplace portal, BDX and Zonda both have that with New Home Source, and now Zonda acquired Buzz Home. So they're hitting that marketplace channel, which is going to be the umbrella channel that consumers are going to come in through. We're also going to create that, release that this summer. So stay tuned for that one. But all these specialty functions, which are integral to the shopping experience, like ratings, reviews, CRMs and OST services, design center apps, self-guided tours, on-site sales apps, buy online, marketing agencies, and research and consultants, those have a lot of gaps, but BDX is filling it in. They just acquired Mitch Levinson's marketing agency. Zonda has and is renowned for their research, Myers Research. And we all have, like I said, design center apps, and BDX has a lot of partners with self-guided tours, and they even have their own ratings and reviews now.
And so there are some builders, large builders with a lot of resources who are saying, well, I don't want to go any of these routes. I'm just going to do it myself. And they essentially develop the whole thing from scratch. But for vast majority of home builders out there, for 49,999 of
Right.
them, they simply don't have the resources to develop it. So it makes sense for them to go through something that's packaged done for you solution. And I think we have seen a lot of this consolidation in other industries where the biggest companies are able to offer out of the box solution instead of you trying to piece all of those things together and hope that it all works.
So how are we going to evolve into this? For a new go, we're adopting all this MarTech and sales tech technologies so we can evolve into e-commerce. And this is the evolution of our company. Early on, we have to conquer that content aspect. And that's where with Rendering House, we did that for over 20 years, and we're still doing it with visualizations. But as data has become, foremost in e-commerce, we created a new go in 2020 and became a software company. But now in 2022, we're going to emerge with the buy now and also the marketplace, a place where you can totally find, design, experience, and buy online. And so we're going to evolve into an e-commerce company. This new home's e-commerce world, where everything is done online, for us, our guiding mantra has been find, design, experience, and buy online. The find and the buy part is really the channel aspect of it. And that's where, Inugo is creating these new channels, but it's very similar to what Amazon is. They don't really create any content, but they allow you to quickly find it and then buy it. Basically discover it, and it's a great discovery experience. And then to check it out, and it's a great checkout experience. The problem for our industry is we have this two big books in the middle, design and experience. And that whole shopping experience, which is content, is where we are different from everyone else. And it's the ability to let the buyer have a personalized shopping experience where they can design and experience their new homes online, and then you can buy.
Yeah, the buy portion is the easy portion because it's the financials, right? I mean, it's tying it to credit card, whatever, but
Right.
it's the design and the experience part that's not easy.
Traditional marketing systems and processes are really designed to herd. My analogy here is grazing sheep. They're all the same. Let's just drive them all the same to eat at the same pasture at the same time. We're just going to all drive them into that sales center. It doesn't matter, who they are, where they're coming from. We're going to treat them all the same. An e-commerce system are built to herd finicky cats, because we know new home buyers are very finicky, a lot of different views and needs and timing. So we need to herd those finicky cats. How hard it is to herd cats to eat what they want when they want. And that really requires a lot of data of what you offer and what they want.
For those of you listening, it's worth just for that picture of cats to go and watch this episode online.
If you have cats, you know what I'm talking about. Good luck trying to chase them down and corral them anywhere. But that's where an e-commerce ecosystem can lure them in. And
it's like giving them catnip, personalized catnip.
Exactly. They just roll over, man. All right. Now, the next thing is gray is the new black. A lot of people have trying to put the proposition on extremes. Either you buy on site or you buy remotely. I really think the whole sales process is really going to be all of the above. It's really going to be the buyer's choice, but it all should be done online like we do with everything else. The means to transact when the buyers are ready should not be the biggest roadblock from converting a sale. When they are ready, you need to give them that immediate capability to do it. So really, it's not an either or black or white proposition, nor is it an all or nothing shopping experience. The system needs to allow you to learn, shop, and buy on every channel. And they have the choice of doing this on their own or with assistance. So what we want to do with the e-commerce ecosystem, it really is about flexibility, whether you want to shop on site or remote shopping. And like Anya, you were referring to, I mean, this is what we do in our real life. You can go on site and you can go through a cashier, but you can also use a sales center kiosk to check out yourself. But you can also go to the cashier if you want and get a consultation. So we should be able to offer both. But if you also want to do it remotely because of convenience or because you've already met with somebody in person and now 2 weeks later you want to now transact, you should be able to do remote self-checkout. And you can also use remote sales consultation. We're not cutting the salesperson out of it. We're cutting them into the conversation when and how the buyers want them to participate. The buyers are going to have their own virtual shopping carts as they traverse the different channels. You shouldn't have to check out just to move over to another channel. No, just like Netflix, your account, your favorites come with you and you start where you left off, on-site or remote. So what does this all mean with all these sales funnels? So I kind of use this crazy term, all roads lead to home, because at the end of the day, we're trying to bring the consumer as quickly into their dream home. And you as a salesperson want to quickly convert them as a sale. And if you look at this map, this is a true map. Back in the day, all roads did lead to Rome because Rome was the center of the universe. And we want to make our consumers the center of our universe. So basically, all the new channels will bypass the traditional channels. It's going to totally reorder the sales funnel stages. The traditional way of starting from online to drive them from your website to your sales center could be backwards. It could be your sales center is where you first meet them as driving by, and then they go to your website, and then they go to the portal and compare it to other builders, and then they go and buy online, or they can come back and then buy online in your sales center. There is no set path, but all roads do lead back to home. And what I'm also saying in this is there's no two shopping paths that are the same, nor should they be. There is no model path. all shopping paths ultimately lead to new home purchases, like I said, and the apps and the clouds connect this online omni-channel network. The internet are the roads of the future, and personal virtual shopping carts will traverse this network.
It's just meeting your customers where they are. Some customers will want to come in and do the handshake and do the whole process in person, and you can still offer that. Some customers want a combination of coming in person and is discovering online. Some customers will want to do it entirely online. Some customers will want a phone call. So
Right.
this is just another avenue of meeting your customer where they are, wherever they are.
And I can see how this is very scary, because I think a lot of, OSCs or salespeople, when they come in, the first day on the job is, okay, here's our standard operating procedures here. You guys, you know, do 5 phone calls, send out 3 emails, talk about this and this. And so it's a set process procedure, and anybody comes in a different way, you don't know how to react. I'm saying basically you're throwing out all those books in there, and you react to them how they want to be reacted to and interact with them. It's almost like street smarts overcomes book smarts.
And especially with all the insights that you're going to be able to access, you can see what each customer is doing and
Right.
where they are in the journey. You can see they switched from lot 7 to lot 28, and they switched from this design to that design. They added an extra feature. So you can have much more meaningful conversations and really guide them as an expert, to
Right.
give them recommendations instead of just trying to, reel in somebody and you have no idea where they've been or where they're going or what's on their mind.
I really think it could really streamline their process. When you got this overwhelming influx of leads, and they go through and interview all your clients about, where they're from, what they're looking for, what they like, what they don't like, and trying to educate them on the new home shopping experience or process in the process, as well as introduce them to your particular products. It's overwhelming when they can just take an iPad, kind of check off their own list, and then you see it all online with your AI that's guiding you as well as guiding them. You know how to respond back to them without wasting a lot of your personal time, because every minute you spend with one person, you're sacrificing that time with another person.
Exactly. This gives you great insights into where customers are and what they want. And now, again, instead of having 100 people coming in at different stages and you have no idea who's a great fit, who's not a great fit, you're getting fewer leads that are much further in the sales process, and they already know exactly what they want. So now you can act as an advisor.
Yes, and the AI actually helps you on both sides. It helps the buyers recommend and match, but it helps the builder and the seller predict this person based on what they're doing is probably ready to buy now, and they're ready to buy this, and they would also be interested in that. That predictive AI guidance driven by data is not going to take your job. It's going to help you do your job better. Now, this whole ecosystem, this is not something you just snap your fingers and it happens. One thing I want to say, though, is I know a lot of people are hesitant. They want to see their competitors do it first. Unfortunately, for something this comprehensive and probably requires overhauling your process and your systems, it's going to take years to change. And it's like this aircraft carrier that I have here. Once you decide that you want to turn it around, I mean, it's very, your battleship, your aircraft carrier is very powerful, but if it's going the wrong direction, it's very hard to change course. Now, on the flip side, the consumers, they're not waiting around for you. They can switch instantly. They're just a click away. I mean, they're not even loyal to any builders because they don't buy that frequently. So if somebody offers them a better customer experience, they're going to, in a second, click away. They're not beholden to you, and they have very low switching costs to try new apps and platforms. I mean, they were born on apps and e-commerce, so you're actually convincing them to go old school.
Yeah, I think once consumers realize that this is available to them online, I mean, the funniest thing I think is with Arbor Homes, our first buy now rollout, they didn't even tell the buyer to go do this online. They told them, okay, if you want to design, you want to see how to customize your home, play around with the tool online that allows you to customize it. They never told them to go ahead and purchase it. The buyers did it themselves. So it's a
Yes.
very natural progression for a buyer to do this.
Yeah, with that example, like you said, they were just in there just designing it. And then the buy now button appeared after they already made all their selections and say, hey, look, you got everything here. You want to buy it. It was just natural for them to click that button. And so you're fighting against a natural consumer behavior and even expectation. And the beautiful thing about that Harbor Homes, not only did they not even market it and promote this feature, but within 2 days of them launching it, they already have an order and a transaction. I mean, talk about all the money they've saved on even marketing and the sales process.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's crazy that they added on Thursday night, and by Saturday they had
exactly
buy now order.
And we're going to have a whole podcast about that to hear the experience from both the builder and hopefully the consumer. So this evolution of marketing and sales channels, what you're going to see is this not replacement of channels, but an accumulation of channels. So you're still going to have print, you're still going to have websites, social, sales kiosks, portals. It could be in different orders, but the type of data that we were associating with each of those channels, and you can listen to an earlier podcast about data, we're moving more and more toward that zero party coveted data. But once they trust that it's actually valuable for them, they will continue to use that, especially all their homes are in those shopping carts and favorites and start where they left off. But also, I hope that the builders would also appreciate that too, because instead of getting an influx of leads just coming from Google and anywhere and about anything, right or wrong, it will only bring to them the buyers that have liked them, have saved them to their favorites or even designed them. So it's going to make it a win-win for everyone in this ecosystem. You're going to see this overlapping of all these different channels. The portals may overlap the social channel, which may overlap the website channel, which you see that already. Social drives you to the website may take you to social, or and social may overlap your sales kiosk. Those overlaps, that dotted line of where the buyer started and finished, I didn't put a starting point or an endpoint because it could start from sales kiosk and end up at the portal, or it could start from a portal and end up at the sales kiosk. It's an asymmetric customer sales journey. So don't even try to map it out. You just need to have the systems to guide you along the way. All right, so now let's talk about our traditional channels, which are websites, versus the top of the funnel, portals and marketplace. Traditional websites, it's kind of like a lemonade stand. You have great content, smiley faces, and a wonderful product, and you're driving people there, and that's great. And why do we need a portal or a marketplace? Well, first of all, let me explain the difference, because we use those kind of terms synonymously here. A portal is almost like an entrance. So it's a way to get into the marketplace, just like you may have a portico or a porch. But it's also, a portal is a very personalized entrance. It's like your patient portal. You go there and you see all the tests that you've done and all the things you should be doing and losing weight and all those kind of things that doctors that you've seen. It's basically your history and your future. So there is a valuable term of using that as a portal. And Zillow and Realtor.com, they're usually referenced as a portal because they try to make it very personalized. The other side of that is a marketplace. A marketplace is where you're bringing buyers and sellers together. And so it's like one-stop shopping, whether it's a convention and you're learning about all the different vendors and products and services, or it could be a fun social place like a farmer's market. Yeah, you can just order online or just go to the grocery store, but sometimes you want to go to like a farmer's market so you can talk to the farmer, talk to other people that have bought that product, talk about recipes and things like that. So what we want to do when we create our marketplace at nugo.com in the summer is we want to have a combination where you're able to come in and be private if you want to be private. You want to get use our AI to match it, notify you, and have your own personal shopping cart. But at the same time, we want to add an element of social shopping where you can learn about when, where, and why to buy new. What are the latest trends? Who bought in that community? And what do they like about that builder, and all those kind of things that you would like to learn. And so you start to see that happening when you start to have a critical mass of buyers and sellers in a particular industry. So you see that, an example that I have over there, like Carvana. Obviously you have buyers and sellers of cars and used cars, and now you go to one destination, but they're focusing on the the ease and the transaction. Airbnb, some people want to have a personal escape, not just a hotel. Well, I don't need to give you all the examples here, but like Etsy, Netflix, Match. If you think about it, Zillow and Google already are your portal and your marketplace. They're just not the best portal and marketplace for a visual complex product that is very personalized. So what we want to do is make a better Zillow, a better Google, and a better customer experience. It's not going to be the end of websites, but there may be further down in the sales process. You may be the place to go where they want that affirmation or that story behind your product, or your history and your people. The misunderstanding about builders websites that advocate that they can be custom built. Yes, they can be custom built versus, let's say, a template, but they're not customizable by the shopper. They're customizable by the seller of how they want to present it. But when the shopper wants to see it their own way, they can't do it. And ultimately, you want the shopper to customize their experience. And so when people use our app and it's integrated into websites and sales centers, they actually get their own My Home app, just like their own Facebook page, because ultimately that's their shopping cart. They're shopping in your store, but they're using their shopping cart. Historically, builder websites have been top of the funnel, and they've been the primary advertising channel. That's where you spend all your money. I would argue that in the future with e-commerce, just like Amazon is actually one of the biggest search engines. Facebook, same thing later on. Those elements of e-commerce are going to become the top of the sales funnel. They're going to be where your buyers shop and learn about you. Builder websites don't have any e-commerce functionality. It's just too overwhelming of an expense and knowledge to invest in individually and can sustain that long term, especially with Web3 and metaverse and AR and VR and all these other things that are coming into play. I don't even know how you would keep up. Websites are generally disconnected from e-commerce ecosystems. They could be linked from it, but they're not usually built into those features. And there's also no AI and virtual assistants or matching. So a builder website to me is like, a Kool-Aid stand. Everybody comes here and they drink the same Kool-Aid. But what we want to do is create a lemonade stand or a soda stand or ice cream stand or whatever, based on whatever the consumer wants. They get their own personal homepage on dynamic app websites.
And I guess it would be possible to create something like that for a website, but it would cost millions and millions of dollars. And
right, and you would have to hire so many people.
And I guess it wouldn't be even a website, it would be a web app anyway.
Yes, it would have to be a web app.
Yeah.
So what happens with the beautiful thing with the web app, we'll have a whole other podcast about that, is that the web app looks and feels just like a website. But what happens is, as each buyer comes in, they get their own unique experience. So that same house that could be sold to both retirees or to a new couple, young couple, they would see content that's relevant to what they're looking for, as opposed to currently a static website, which is the same for everyone. So it should resonate right off the bat. So even though it's built on a template, the template morphs dynamically to your customers, as opposed to your customers having to morph into your generic website. So what does the e-commerce marketplace bring into? Well, one, it's a lot easier to market because it hopefully be a well-known destination to learn, shop, and buy new homes. I mean, before they even start buying, they want to learn, and they wherever they learn and feel that they got that expertise from is probably where they're going to stay to shop. And it becomes a new top of the sales funnel. I mean, Zillow has already proven that with the existing homes. I mean, it used to be in the old days where you had all these brokerage websites and they spend a lot of money trying to get people to go to their place, and Zillow just come right on top and sit on it. And now they actually pay to be part of Zillow. So it becomes a new top of the funnel, and it supersedes search engines, because now if you have a destination for a particular product or service, that Google is very broad search on a few keywords. When you want something as important and complex as new homes, people are going to come there versus using a generic search engine. We will actually have the search engine within our portal, but you're searching within a product and using terms that are relevant to our industry. The nice thing about the e-commerce marketplace, it's connected all the way from discovery to checkout. So you shouldn't have to go offline when you started online. I mean, that's basically the business model right now, is immediately, bring them in online, immediately take them offline. No, they can do that. Then maybe they do it further down the sales process. But if they want to stay online, they can continue all the way to checkout. And then you can utilize new technology like virtual assistants and recommendations and matches instead of you searching every day. You can also bring in the fun of influencers and experts, just like you would with Facebook and some other things. And you can still have your own personalized online shopping with virtual shopping carts. Basically, what we want to do with a marketplace is not just that you go there for buying a house. You come for the selection, but you stay for the experience.
Yep. And I think this is a great opportunity to intercept a lot of buyers who are not sure if they want to buy a new home, but providing that Zillow experience, fueling the passion of for looking for fun houses, designing a fun house. Now suddenly it's like, why would I want to settle for this old house when I can actually get a brand new custom designed home? And so I think it intercepts a lot of the buyers very early on in that cycle when they're not even thinking about buying yet, but they come there for fun. Like we've seen Zillow, most of the people come to Zillow for fun.
Zillow has been around about 15 years and people know them everywhere, and they get so much traffic and people think, oh, okay, well, that's the Zillow app. No, Zillow is continuing to move on. They just introduced that they're having this, they're creating this housing super app. We hadn't even created a new home portal app, and they're already at the super app. And what's a super app? What they're doing with the Zillow app, they're bringing it so you can go there and get your mortgages, you can get touring, you can do all your payments on there, and insurance, and all these things that's all part of that whole process. So on top of having an e-commerce place where you can just shop, we actually want to create an app. One unique thing about buying a new home is after you buy it, there's still 9, 10, 12 months of a whole construction and applications and insurance and moving and all these other things that you need to do. And we want to take you on that whole journey beyond the e-commerce transaction piece.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to get customer engaged and increase builder profits at the same time.
Mm-hmm. That concludes our big stage conversation about the ecosystem.
I feel so excited about this. I think that marketplace is really going to be a game changer for new home sales, and it's going to open a whole new market for home builders and give us an opportunity to truly compete against used homes.
Yeah, the next 2 or 3 years is going to be very telling and very exciting. You're going to see a lot of things change, a lot of players move around, a lot of new alliances and partnerships. But really for the consumers, I hope you start to see some smiling faces instead of a lot of frowns. Stay tuned. We got a lot more to share.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next Tech Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.